Sarasota cops and sheriff get is kind of they have a recovery pod, but there again this is policing for profit. If we didn't have a war on drugs and the people, we wouldn't need a recovery pod. It's more government money for the place, the people, the benefits, the retirement. Is socialist fascism. And it's got to stop. It leads to full-blown communism. Charlotte County Sheriff and Punta Gorda Police are completely into policing for profit with their road pirates violating people's rights for victimless crimes. If you have one joint, you are in jail. Completely unneeded. It's just to make money for their fascist system. Addiction. Behind bars, getting ahead. Success stories from recovery program at Sarasota County Jail. By Carlos R. Munoz. Carlos.Munoz at HeraldTribune.com. Sarasota. 2 former inmates of the Sarasota County Jail's addiction recovery program, one nearly 2 years into her recovery and the other beginning a path of sobriety for the first time in 10 years, told 35 other women struggling with addiction that it is possible to recover. Melissa Singer, 31, who left the jail recovery pod last September, got married in March. She lives with her son and is allowed to see her daughter again, something she didn't think was possible 2 years ago when she arrived at the jail completely broken and pregnant. Singer returned to the jail to speak to the women who volunteered for treatment. Some had been there before. This isn't their first time, said Singer, who was addicted to opiates, crack cocaine and 4 drugs and alcohol. It wasn't my first time. I wanted them to know most. CBars, A2. Melissa Singer, 31, standing, who is now 16 months clean and was in the Sarasota County Jail's addiction recovery pod, comes back to the pod to tell her story how recovery is possible. Photographed on Tuesday, March 28, 2017. Herald Tribune staff photo / Thomas Bender. Sarasota County Sheriff's Colonel Kurt A. Hoffman talks with ladies in the Sarasota County Jail's addiction recovery pod. He talks about how he'd like to see every lady recover during their stay at the jail and after they do. Photograph it on Tuesday, March 28, 2017. Bars. Continued from May 1. Importantly, it doesn't have to be like this. You can change it. I did it and nobody thought I would. Most people thought I would die as an addict. Katie Whitman, 35, was an inmate in the recovery pod until March 28, when her 7-month drive to recover earned her probation. She left the jail and checked into First Step, where she must complete a 6-month rehab program. She became addicted to drugs more than 10 years ago while going through a bitter divorce and began abusing prescription medication for her back pain, and later added 4 drugs and methamphetamine. The college graduate and healthcare professional's problems were discovered at work when she suffered a transient ischemic attack, often called a mini-stroke, at work. Whitman was hospitalized at the same facility where she worked, and her colleagues learned of her secret life. She said she used drugs alone, and had access to her drug of choice, painkillers, at work. Shortly after that, Whitman's family moved her to Florida to restart her life, but 3 years ago she discovered meth, and 2 days before she was arrested she overdosed. Narcan, an opioid antidote, was used twice to revive her. She was taken to Manatee Memorial Hospital, recovered, and left alone. I walked out with no shoes, no shirt, and nowhere to go, said Whitman with her hands folded together on her lap. The lowest of the low. I didn't know what I was going to do. I got arrested the next day. The rest of the women in her pod sat at tables nearby whispering quiet words of support as she spoke. It was an adult-sized timeout. It saved my life, Whitman said. Finding love. She was jailed for burglary, fraud, and theft and sentenced to 2 years in jail. Whitman arrived around the same time that Singer was released from the jail last September. Their success is linked to the camaraderie among the women in the pod, the positive influence of volunteers and the constant reassurance of DEP Renee Hanna, the recovery pod supervising officer. I trust Ms. Hanna with everything, Whitman said. I would go to her with a bad or a good day. She truly cares about us and we see that. Singer still doesn't know why she volunteered to go to the recovery Pod after 2 failed attempts at rehabilitation, but after giving birth to her daughter in jail and being forced to send the infant to foster care, she reluctantly agreed when a deputy asked her if she wanted to go to treatment. "I was a wreck," said singer, who pleaded no contest to petty theft charges. She spent about 8 months in jail. Singer was withdrawn, but to be in the pod she had to follow stringent rules. Those included treatment, meetings, and sharing personal details about her life she had kept guarded. "I was a little frustrated," Singer said. "I thought it'd be kind of a lost cause." Singer listened, at first, to volunteers who, even when none of the inmates spoke, opened up about their personal lives. Some came back on their own time to talk to her separately. An atheist when she arrived in the pod, Singer said she was broken down, and cried almost every day when she arrived. An invitation to church, with Bayside Community Church volunteers who came to the jail, and the support of women there brought her to a turning point, she said. "I spent a long part of my life not feeling like I was worth anything, feeling completely like garbage," Singer said. "So I treated myself like garbage." In jail, Singer said she found compassion among the women in orange beside her, who don't always agree, but support each other. "I found that love is so much more valuable, and I was given a lot of that here," she said. Singer is now a welcome guest in the jail and frequently returns to talk to the women in the pod, like Whitman, about her 16 months of sobriety. Whitman said Singer's story instilled self-confidence in her and the other women in the addiction recovery program. "I have a love for myself that I haven't had in a long time," Whitman said. "I definitely really struggle with some things and I have a long way to go." Katie Whitman is in the Sarasota County Jail's addiction recovery pod. Whitman, 35, has been sober for 7 months. Photographed on Tuesday, March 28, 2017. Herald Tribune staff photo / Thomas Bender.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I wanted to explain what fair use is. You can use pieces of news articles if you're doing it for news reporting, you have commentary, and you're doing it for education purposes. So that's what fair use is, as you can see right here. Another reason why I wanted to make this video is to let you know I have just joined with Patreon. A nice thing with Patreon, I make no money on YouTube. They took the money away years ago, and so this is another way to give, and it's a nice thing too because you can give monthly. You can give $1, $5, $10, whatever. I do 4 to 5 hours a day on trying to wake the sheeple up on how corrupt it is and different ways that you can fight the corruption. So Patreon is a way that you can do it, and then of course the old way is still there. Donate to Charlotte County COPWATCH with PayPal or credit card. So keep that in mind. 4 to 5 hours a day. I make no money, but the corruption happened to me and I'm sick of it, so I'm trying to wake people up. But my wife would love it if if we could get some help out there. There's 47,000 subscribers. Just think if each one of you subscribers just gave let's say actually yes, $1 a month. 47,000 subscribers gave $1 a month. That would be awesome. That's not going to happen. But anyways, that would be great if it did happen. But do the math in your head. Just think about it. Like I said, 4 to 5 hours a day. I get no money from YouTube. YouTube has gone nuts. You can't do anything anymore. They're taking the money away everywhere. So these are a couple different ways that you can still help out with all this time that I put in. And as you know, I'm in a special situation where, at least I can do it. 4 to 5 hours a day. We have a cleaning company during the day. That's what allows me to do this, and we're debt free. So this is my hobby. I don't go fishing and all that other crap. I try to save the world. So help me out to make the wife happy, man. In fact, if you guys did give $1 a day, and there was 47,000 of you, and you did it, and each of you gave $1, And that was every month. Oh my God. Yes, I could quit. I could start suing them. Another idea too that we have is, you know, if I got, you know, some funds, we could actually contact everyone that has been ticketed and or arrested and put in jail and start sending them postcards to let them know we're here and to see if everything went all right, and if it didn't, find out their story. So we could even do more investigations and more lawsuits. Lawsuits take money. So just think about that. You know, 47,000 of you so far right now, you know, $1 a day, I mean $1 a month on Patreon, or $5 a month Patreon, 10, 20, whatever. Just do the math in your head, help out. This is a lot of work every single day. Thanks.